Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the City Council meeting of February the 3rd, 2026 to order. At this time, Councilmember Rick Miller will do the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor. Please rise. And please pray with me, especially if your faith is different than mine. Heavenly Father, we thank you as members of this council for this opportunity to serve the citizens of Sugar Land. May we be blessed with wisdom, and discernment, and knowledge to navigate the challenges and opportunities before us. Grant us the strength to listen to one another with respect and empathy, and to work closely together to make the right and best decisions for the city and for all residents. I also ask a special blessing on all city staff members, and especially for the safety of our first responders as they carry out their duties in serving all of us. Dear Lord, we appreciate your grace and mercy that you provide to us daily. Please guide and direct all that we do. May our city and all residents thrive, and may we as elected council members always act with integrity, humility, and compassion. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call 2nd Tamasetti with Troop 38 to come up and lead our pledges. And so in honor of Boy Scout Week, we've invited us up here today, and he's going to be completing his Eagle Scout with our Parks Department. So 2nd.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Want to get a quick picture? We're going to stand right here. Where's our picture going? There you go. Thank you. And good luck on that eagle. Thank you for coming. Okay, next item 5, recognition, Bloomberg Philanthropies What Works Cities Goal Certification. And we have Shayla Lee, Director of Strategic and Governmental Affairs. Shayla.
Thank you, Mayor. So the mayor is going to share a few things of what it took to go into this certification. And my data and innovation team going to come up with me. Thank you. The mayor's going to share a little bit about what it took to go into this certification, but we just wanted to show that this exemplifies our city's commitment to transparency, accountability, and ensuring that we are continuously improving our processes. The people that you see up here behind me, and a few that couldn't make it, are the faces behind the screen that put in a lot of hard work, a lot of hours to ensure that we are making sure that we have open data portals, we are being transparent, and we are making sure that the decisions that we make are truly driven by data and what our community needs. And then also I wanted to thank the organization. So our city council, it would not be possible without every single person, because it does take an all-in commitment from every single one of you to make these things possible. And with that, thank you all, and I'll pass it over to the mayor.
Okay, so now I'm going to present a proclamation. I'll read part of here. So, whereas a growing movement of cities and city leaders are using data and evidence to more equitably deliver services and solve problems, invest public dollars in programs that work, increase transparency, and improve the lives of residents. And whereas Bloomberg Philanthropies What Works Cities certification is an international initiative launched in 2017 by Bloomberg Philanthropies and led by Results for America that helps cities adopt foundational data practices, develop data skills throughout city staff, and put in place critical data infrastructure. And whereas in completing an assessment, the city of Sugar Land joined an international community of cities, growing their data practices and sharing innovative ideas for adopting and scaling data-driven approaches to pressing challenges and government operations. Now, therefore, be it resolved, I, Mayor Carol McCutcheon, on behalf of the Sugar Land City Council, hereby proudly announce that the City of Sugar Land has met the What Works City Certification Standard of Excellence for Data-Driven Local Government and achieved 2025 What Works City's Gold Certification. And this is absolutely huge. So give Shayla and the Data and Innovation, a huge round of applause here. And let me present the proclamation. Council, would you like to come down?
We do need, there's a lot of people on this side. I'll need a couple on this side. And then, yeah, I might need y'all to kind of. Yeah, you don't have to do the full prom pose, but maybe a little, there you go. And then crowd in a little bit more. There we go. There, I think that does it. Okay. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. I'm just going to hold this down for a second. And cool. Thank you.
Okay, next, 5B, Boards and Commission Service Recognition. So now we have the honor of recognizing some of our outgoing boards and commission members for their dedicated service during their tenure. From Animal Advisory Board, we have Jenna Ross. Jenna, are you here? There you are, I see you. Come on up. Okay, and then from the Sugarland Legacy Foundation, we have Dr. Betty Baitlin. And also from Legacy, we have John Knoll. And John served on the board from 2011 to 2025, so 14 years. And Betty was on there from 2014 to 2025, so 11 years. So really long service, so thank you. And of course, and Jenna was on our Animal Advisory Board for 6 years. So on behalf of the entire City Council, I'd like to take a moment to say thank you. You know, each of you volunteered your time, your expertise, and your voices to help guide important initiatives for the betterment of our community. You reviewed policies, asked tough questions, and offered thoughtful recommendations, all while balancing your careers, families, and everyday life. So we're deeply grateful for the work you've done and the leadership that you've shown our city. Thank you very much. Let's grab a picture. Give them a round of applause again. So at this time, we will open public comment. Citizens who wish to address the City Council regarding action items on the agenda for consideration will have 3 minutes to speak. So we have Susan Fortenberry. She's speaking on item 8A, the Imperial Historic District. So Susan.
Dear Mayor McCutcheon, Sugar Land City Council, and staff, thank you for your service on behalf of the City of Sugar Land. TPUDC conducted meetings for about 30 total hours on the Imperial redevelopment. Their stated goal was to listen to us. I was excited for the opportunity. I attended all of the group meetings and spoke with Mr. Wright one-on-one in an open studio session. I watched all of the video recordings so as not to catch anything I missed in person. After attending the last City Council meeting and hearing the final report, I do not feel heard. The visioning plan and pillars are not an accurate record of all the ideas presented by the citizens of Sugar Land. Mr. Wright minimized the desire of many citizens for a much larger History of Sugar Land museum, stating that his vision was to have artifacts tucked in unexpected places within the development. Sugar Land deserves a much larger, dedicated museum space in addition to history woven throughout this historic site. A wealth of unique historical artifacts and documents are in storage. These treasures deserve to be in a large, dedicated, air-conditioned museum space. Our ideas for dining in the Char House were ignored. He stated that the 3-bay warehouse is far more suited for dining. Our wish for a gathering spot on the roof of the Char House was shifted to him to the silos, to be accessed by spiral stairs. That would exclude children, the elderly, and the disabled. Me. The final report does not show the true thoughts of those who took part in all of the meetings. His playbook is missing pages. He gave more weight to his own ideas. This single report will not show future developers what the citizens want for the historic heart of Sugar Land. Many similar industrial redevelopments were mentioned during the meetings. It would be very useful to know how other cities accomplished their projects. How much was paid to TPUDC for their visit and report? The City of Sugar Land Facebook page said that info would be addressed at the last meeting. It was not. I submitted an open records request on January 23rd, and as 4:30 p.m. today, it's not been answered. The median yearly household income in Sugar Land appears to be around $136,000. How does the cost of this report compare to the median yearly household income in Sugar Land? A funding campaign in Sugar Land to collect donations for a larger museum would be a way for this project to not be held hostage to the whim of developers. Checkout registers at many stores ask if I want to round up for charity. Many of us would gladly round up for Sugar Land history at every opportunity, and many businesses would also donate to save the historic heart of Sugar Land. Thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Susan. Linda, has anyone else signed up to speak?
No, Mayor, they have not.
Okay, the public hearing is now closed. Next item is 7, consent agenda. All consent agenda items listed are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion unless a council member wishes to pull anything off. Okay, I've got a motion to approve by Councilmember Miller and a second by Councilmember Single. Let's vote at this time. And the motion passes 7-0. Next, item 8, ordinances and resolution. We have one item under consideration. Consideration of and action on City of Sugar Land Resolution Number 2611, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sugar Land, Texas, adopting the Imperial Historic District Visioning Statement and Guiding Pillars. We have Jessica Hubble, Assistant Director of Redevelopment. Jessica.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Okay, so I want to first start off and acknowledge the illustrator of this image. This resident actually attended some of the visioning sessions, and she is a visual note taker. And so when she left, she gave us these drawings that she did. And you see people do this a lot of times in planning type exercises because they try to put, pictures to the words. So I really loved this and just wanted to share it. We've posted on some of our social too, but I just wanted to share it because I thought it was so nice. So just a recap of where we've been. So again, in June 2025, city secured ownership of the 40 acres. November 6th through the 9th, TPUDC facilitated a community engagement exercise. On January 20th, TPUDC and staff workshopped the draft strategic vision report and received comments from council. And then February 3rd, today, I'll be recommending the adoption of the Imperial Historic District Vision Statement and Guiding Principles. So based on the feedback, we adjusted the mission statement or the vision statement a bit as an authentically Sugar Land district designed for our future. And where the our comes in, it's tying to like our city, our people, honoring our history, but finding the way to move it into the future. So going back to the history and honing in on what made us who we are, we never want to lose that, but we also have to focus on what's going to be best for our residents today and in future generations. So we did tweak that a little bit. And then we still have tell the story, create a living district. You'll see in that one, we put in some of the comments from council on making sure we noted flexibility and adaptable to long-term market changes, designed for gathering, and then connect and enhance mobility. So first and foremost is to tell their stories. So the story, it was very important, or the feedback that we heard was very important to tell the holistic story. Honestly, accurately, the difficult chapters and the achievements. And so leaning into the history is also what sets this apart. A lot of things that cities do can be replicated. Your history and something like this cannot be replicated. That's what truly makes this project authentic, and it will make it stand out against others. This is the only historic district like this in the region, so there truly is an opportunity to do something that has never been done before. And so we just want to hone in on the things that cannot be replicated because it's our story and it's where we came from. And then it talks about, adding in the artifacts and museum space, including in Mayfield Park, bringing in self-guided tours, which we can work with partners to do, and just finding little ways to integrate it throughout so it's more intentional. Create a living district. So there was a clear desire for Imperial to be active, like every day, not a static redevelopment or single use. There were comments about wanting their kids to be able to be there, spend time outdoors, attend events, simply go there just to hang out, not necessarily always money exchange or buying a service. And then a place to have like a nice dinner and celebrate occasions. So again, based on the feedback received from council, this is where we try to mix in the flexibility piece and that it's revenue generating, but it also supports the needs of this community and then the current needs of future communities, and aligns with the necessary foot traffic that we'll need. Because if we prioritize flexibility, everyday activation, and stabilization, then it will help sustain it long term. Design for gatherings. So Imperial, it was important that Imperial function as a civic space, not just a destination or a development project. Residents emphasized the importance of spaces where people of all ages, backgrounds, and abilities felt welcome, and it was designed to that. So this pillar was encouraged to hone in on not just creating plazas or providing seats, but focusing on the connection, the areas to linger, areas to meet your neighbors, where you can watch your kids play, but you might be at an adjacent restaurant, and just a bit more like free-flowing. And it was meant to be designed to support a range of uses without feeling over-programmed, like you're always kind of competing for a space. And by centering the people and shared experiences, this reinforces Imperial's role as a place where community life happens. Because again, going back to our history, this is where downtown was. This is where all the activities happened at the Merc, and we want to kind of bring that feeling back. And so the last one is connect and enhance mobility. So there was a strong desire from the community to feel physically and functionally connected to the rest of Sugar Land. I've heard many times in my career here of the north side and the south side of the city, that side of the train tracks, this side of the train tracks. And so we really want to try to make more of a connected and walkable and engaged area on that side of our city. And so they stress the importance of the district to be walkable and accessible and easy to navigate with safe and intuitive connections. We do see young families moving in on that side. There's not as much sidewalks. You've got really fast driving cars. So we want to find unique ways to connect people to the site through paths or just creative ways. A big piece that was brought up was integrating Oyster Creek, both as a natural asset and a connective element. Right now it's Everything's kind of has their back to it, but at one time, I mean, that was a really pivotal part for our city. So finding ways to enhance that. And then again, just not relying on a single mode. It shouldn't just be car focused. It should be walkable, bikeable, skateboarding, whatever your fancy is. But we want to focus on getting people in and around. And so by prioritizing this, it supports that we're welcoming, inclusive, well integrated, reinforcing as a place that can be open and accessible and connected, and bringing in everybody from Imperial Highway 6 all the way, to Lakeview Elementary. We want it to be welcoming and available to all. And so I wanted to highlight where we go from here. There are a lot of questions related to the process. And so this is to try to help showcase at a high level what's to be expected. So from this point forward, we're basically on 2 tracks. We have the procurement process for the master developer, and then we have the char house preservation, which is somewhat underway, that process. So right now, and shortly after, if the vision and guiding principles are adopted today, we would move into releasing the RFQ later this month. Our plan is to do February 25th. The idea is we would start promoting at the end of this week, because developers have made it very clear that they need a heads up so they can prepare and get their stuff ready. They'll only have about a month to submit their proposals, which is a normal amount of time, but the more heads up we can give them, the better. And then from March 30th to June 1st, this is where you'll see the RFQ submittals come back to the city. Staff will review the submittals. We have to interview the applicants, and then we will take those, the overview of those submittals to the Economic Development Committee, which is mayor and 2 council members. We'll kind of high level go over what we received, and then go over the recommendations of the top 2 to 3 that we're recommending to move forward with, and get feedback from the EDC. And then in summer, we'll move into phase 2 of the procurement process. And that's where we will invite the top selected back to submit a proposal that's much more in-depth and specific to this property, that would have your site plans, more financials, more plans that are specific and tie into what we're going to see here. And so again, the qualifications is very high level. It's who you are as a company, what your experience is, what have you done before, and then your proposal is very, very specific. And so once we have those will take a little bit longer to receive. You typically give them anywhere from 2.5 months, because those do take a lot of time, and there's money that has to be invested into that. And so once we get those back, staff will review those submissions, and then that's where we would take those to the to executive session with City Council and review those to figure out who the city wanted to move forward with as a master developer. And then after that, staff would bring forward an agreement basically authorizing the city to start negotiating with that developer into a master development agreement. And then it would come back many more times as we work through terms. So that's just a high level of kind of how that will look in the next coming months, should we move forward. And then again, at the same time, the char house is on kind of its own track. So phase 1 of the design work is underway. We're selecting our construction manager at risk right now. We're going to be doing utility upgrades here shortly. And then that's part of the CO that was already issued. And then in late spring and fall, we are hoping to have the phase 1 construction begin, which would, of course, include a groundbreaking ceremony that we will make sure is all that it deserves to be. And so we're kind of hoping that'll be around the August-September timeframe, but we will have that solidified as we work through the design planning with the Urbano and the CMAR. That'll become way more apparent. And then in fall 2026 is when we would hope that we can have true interim activations. We would have utilities fixed on site that need to be addressed, and some parking issues, and then the char house would be safe and secured. We've considered doing interim activations beforehand. It's not completely off the table, but we have to find the balance of trying to encourage people to stay out of the char house and off the site versus inviting them to come on the site and be curious. So we have to make sure we can actually safely keep people out where they don't need to be. So it's kind of a tricky thing we're battling. But worst case, after the groundbreaking, the char house would be completely blocked off, and it'd be 100% secured. So we could do a lot more then. And then just because this is a big project for our city, to say the least, and we want to ensure that we reach the most qualified developers, we are doing a targeted marketing campaign for this. And the platform that we're using is BizCred. And basically, we give them names, titles, professions, and they create a curated list, they're actually targeted. And so these targeted developers or consultants will see ads on social and other digital advertising. It'll run for 2 months, because again, we're trying to get out in front of people about, hey, we have this opportunity, please come solicit, because we want to make sure that we're reaching people outside of our normal network, because if it's been done here, we want something that's never been done here before. So we might need to reach outside of what we're used to. So the audience is around 6,000 qualified development and real estate professionals. They promote nationally, and then the estimated impressions is 183,000. And then again, this is around $7,500. This comes out of our regular marketing operations through the corporations. And we do feel like this will be not only a way to target who we need to target, but it'll also track who's looking at us. So it gives us the data of who's interested, and then maybe, why didn't they bid? It gives us a lot more data to actually dig into maybe future opportunities and more conversations. And I do want to be clear that when they click on this ad, it basically will take them to a landing page where it'll have a little bit of the background of video, but then it would direct them to that Open Gov page where everybody else would go. So this doesn't give anybody any special treatment or any secret information. They get all the same information as you would if you found it through another way, but it's just a way that we can be sure that we're targeting outside of our normal market. And so we're excited to see what we get from this. And so with that, staff's requesting approval of resolution number 26-11, adopting the Imperial Historic District redevelopment vision statement and guiding pillars. I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
Okay, Councilmember Vonderhaar.
Jessica, thank you very much. Excellent job. I think we all know that we have been working for 20 plus years to make something happen at our historical site. But I want to make a couple of clarifications. At our last workshop, one of the things that was brought up was the fact that we wanted to make sure this visioning statement was not so specific as to curtail creativity, and I think you guys have made some modifications to it that have accomplished that. And then the other thing that I just want to clarify with you is to make sure that this is a visioning statement. This is not a set of plans. There have been no decisions made with respect to how the char house will be redeveloped, what goes into the 3-bay warehouse, or anything else for that matter. There are no concrete decisions that have been made. This is a visioning statement, very broad, to encourage developers to come in here and be as creative as they can. Is that a fair statement?
Completely fair. And the developers, not only is the RFQ extensive, with the attachments and supplemental documents, they're going to get access to the visioning report, the videos, the recorded videos. They're going to be able to see the dialogue. So when it comes down to the proposal piece, that's where you would hope to see a developer better explain, I could potentially do this with the char house, but it would look like this. The request for qualifications is very much focused on them as a developer and their qualifications and the team they bring to the table and their proven track record that we can vet. And then from there, they'll go much more deep, and then we'll vet that too and go on to the next step if you so choose.
And there's been no decisions made on what will happen, nor have there been any decisions made on what won't happen.
Not at all. No.
Good job.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Single.
Thank you, Mayor. So I have two questions. One is, I went through the report, so the overall process was very good. Did the scope of work for the consultant also included to give some suggestion to overcome some of the challenges, like the access, which is a challenge from the Highway 90 side? Because I did not see that part of the report.
I don't believe so. It was mostly just because again, to Councilmember's point, this project has been going on for 20 years. The city has only been a part of it for a year. So come on, give us a little credit here. It's just been a year. But what never happened was listening to the residents about what they actually wanted. So the whole goal of this was truly to hear from the residents what kind of the overarching consensus was and where they were putting the most value. And then that can be transition to a developer, because again, there has to be market realities factored in. It has to be feasible. There are things that can be done potentially, but what is the city willing to put in as far as investment? So all of those things are still yet to be determined and can be discussed. But the whole goal of this was really the community engagement effort, because it's just never been done before.
The second part of the question. So based on what you said, between now and the start of RFP, would we get a chance as a council to give you some guideline on the financial goal role, like how much is council willing to consider in terms of investment or model, just as a broad guideline? Or you think that will come after the RFP process?
It would be after. So per policy and just standard practice, the EDC, the committee that was set to kind of review some of these negotiations that we go through, will see the initial submittals and then narrow down to the top. And then once we get those proposals from the top 2 to 3, we'll bring those in totality to City Council at executive session. So you'll be able to see those in totality and be able to discuss with staff on those. It's nothing that like has to be made a quick decision right then. You'll have time to kind of sit on it and think on it. And so that is really where that will come in, because the request for qualifications is very high level. Really doesn't get into that stuff yet. It's more so vetting your qualifications as a developer and what you've done in the past.
Councilmember Watley?
Thank you. Jessica, great job.
Thanks.
I kind of want to reiterate what Councilmember Vonderhaar said. You guys really did a great job, and people need to realize what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And my hope, do you have a link, or where can we find this? Because this is my number one question in my district. So if we can have a QR code or something that council can share so we can kind of keep up with the process and understand what's going on.
Do we have a link to the visioning report or like this
The whole
presentation?
process, kind of
So-
so people can know where we're
Yeah.
at and what's going on, tracking maybe?
Yeah, we can definitely work on that. So now if this gets approved, this visioning document will be put on the project webpage, of course. And then we will, now that we're kind of moving into the next phases, we can work on updating that timeline and kind of set some expectations like I outlined tonight of what to expect. Because we definitely want to reiterate that this is a long process. There's always stuff going on behind the scenes. EDC and council receives updates and FYIs when we have them on what's going on. And so there will be a lot of opportunities for the residents to be involved well before a shovel hits the ground and something is built. We're at the very beginning stages, and a developer is going to want to talk to the community. So I want to be clear that there's going to be a lot more opportunities for residents to really have some say and express their feelings, and then we lean to the developer to say, this is feasible, this is how the market is right now. I could do this in 10 years. Like that's their job, right? And then we work as a team to figure out how we can make this happen.
Follow up?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Am I too early to be excited?
No, be excited. I'm excited about the groundbreaking.
I think we're all excited. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got a motion by Watley and a second by Councilmember Vonderhaar. Let's vote at this time. Oh, okay, one more. Okay, Councilmember Betcher?
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
From the top here, how does the vision and pillars translate to the RFQ and the final plan?
So in the RFQ, it states the vision and the pillars and kind of how we got there, and then they'll have access to the whole document. Your goal, and I want to be clear too, we modeled this after Cedar Park and Miller and other communities, and the biggest takeaway that we got from them was, do not make your pillars so specific that it rules people out. You need to really target what you're trying to achieve, and then the developer and the market will show you how you can achieve it, or ideas of how to achieve it. So the goal here was to, like, the vision and community pillars are the tell your story, create a living district, design for gathering, and then enhance mobility. When you see the RFP, or the second phase, the proposals, that should show you a better picture of like their site planning and like how they're gonna tell our story, how they're gonna create a living district, like how they're gonna spread their uses to make sure that this is sustainable long-term, like how they're gonna have green spaces that integrate Mayfield and provide spaces that are for all ages. And that's where you can really dig into, are you meeting the mark here? And then the connect and enhance. And that will also come in with, okay, I could do the connect and enhance mobility by a pedestrian bridge, which will cost X, or a driving bridge, which will cost X. So again, there's so many decisions to be made, but it's up to the developer to kind of meet these. And then typically they will then define an even more specific vision for the development. Like you see with the Pearl, they say Hotel Emma is like the living room or something of the city. So a lot of times it goes a little deeper. This is meant to be what the city's envisioning and really hoping to see at the end of this, and they need to kind of show us how they can do it. And then the council decides who we want to trust.
Follow up.
And then, so in terms of the process, a lot of the finer points of following the vision won't be done until the secondary process of,
Potentially.
like, after the original RFQ, correct?
Potentially. I mean, we bring it up in the RFQ, so they very well could mention it there. It's kind of up to them what they put together as their proposal. I would imagine people will put their best foot forward for this and really try to show what they can bring. And we will look for that in the RFQ. There's kind of a weighting scale of how you grade or score the requests. And so that the kind of alignment to the visions or alignment to the pillars that we've set is going to be part of that weighted scale. And so it is something that they'll have to speak to.
Are we currently asking them for an initial proposal during the RFQ, or is it just show me your qualifications?
It's mostly qualifications, background, who your team is, what projects you've done in the past. Have you been successful on those projects? There's a few financial questions they can answer, like your capacity, how many current projects do you have now, so we can gauge, do you have time for us? You know, are we gonna be top of your list? And then again, the phase 2 is where it goes into financials, pro formas, like how you're really gonna get there and how you think this could be feasible, what type of financing you might need. But
Right.
I would imagine these RFQs will be pretty robust. I mean, it's 40 plus pages already from our end. Like there's a lot of stuff that we're asking them to provide and examples. And again, typically if projects this size and scale, they're gonna put their best foot forward. It takes weeks to review these submissions. And I also wanna be clear too that there's in that process, there's it's like what's it called? A question where the, questionnaire. And it asks a little bit more questions, but I was gonna say there's an opportunity where the people that are interested in submitting can ask more clarifying questions to staff, both in person or virtually. And then we also put those questions and answers out on the RFQ page. So a lot of times if they're asking for more detailed or like clearer direction, it'll be identified in that too.
How many companies are we expecting for the first phase versus the second phase once we whittle it down?
The RFQ, as many as we can get. Hundreds would be great. Not that I want to review that, but you know. And then we're going to whittle it down to the top ones. There's no set number. I mean, that's really kind of up to, you know, EDC and what they deem. But ideally, you want to get down to like 2 or 3, your top 2 and 3.
Okay. Is it possible to at least open it up for a initial rough draft proposal of what they would propose for the land in the first RFQ? That way we're not limiting our options just to the later batch?
I think it depends on what you'd be asking for, because some of it requires numbers and money to be spent. And so there's certain procurement laws and processes of what we can ask and what we can't. Certain things have to be open, and it's very restrictive. Like RFQs are pretty standard of what we can ask. We can be creative in some ways about the questions to try to pull more information out. That's why a lot of times they'll sometimes give you more than you ask to show what they can do. But everything we have in here is pretty much what we can ask at that time.
Okay.
And
So-
final point.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to add. So in the last meeting, we had talked about the financial analysis, and you know, looking at the numbers, it was looking at different retail, hotels, residential, and I know some of the residents were a little bit upset about the hotel being canceled out from that study. Looking at the study, it was like $4.5 million for projected revenue, estimated 150 rooms, 70% occupancy rate, which boils down to 117 a night, which is more in line with like a Motel 6 versus the high-end Pearl that we were, you know, comparing it to. So, you know, if we revisit those numbers, it might give a different picture. So
This is getting a little outside the scope, because we're supposed to be talking about the
just
pillars
giving
and the
feedback
vision statement
to
tonight.
developers
Yeah.
to keep all the options open, and you know, let's see what we can come up with.
For sure. The feasibility study and some of that was done for us to have a good understanding of where we sat. But again, as I mentioned last time, I think it's a snapshot in time. Any good master developer should want to run their own when they get to that point.
Right.
They're going to bring in their own, brokers and commercial real estate experts and financial experts. And so all of that is subject to change depending how the market and the city evolves.
Yep. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's vote at this time. Okay, and the motion passes 7-0. I'm really excited that we have unanimous support from
too.
council on the visioning statement and our 4 guiding pillars. And it's really great that we're going to be moving ahead on this very, very important project in our city. Thank you, Jessica.
I appreciate it.
Okay, next item 9, city council and city manager reports. I will start with you, Councilmember Vonderhaar.
Thank you, Mayor. Keep it brief. I think most everybody on this dais participated in Jim Calloway's retirement. Jim spent decades with this organization and contributed so much that I wasn't aware of until I went there. So what a great honor that was for him and for the city. And then also I attended the Accredo packaging expansion ribbon cutting. They've added a new line in their operation and kicked it off a couple weeks ago. And finally participated in the T.E. Harmon Senior Center's kind of open house and planning session to look at how we keep that thing growing and vibrant in the future.
Thank you. Councilmember Jacobson?
Thank you, Mayor. I had the pleasure, along with you, of attending the police retirement ceremony for Lieutenant Rivera and Officer Condi. And I also, along with Councilmember Watley, attended the Greater Houston Builders Association Economic Forecast Luncheon, which was very, very enlightening about the future of building and housing in our area.
Thank you. Councilmember Rob Betcher?
All right, I'll cover the ones we haven't done yet. So we visited Plug and Play, which is located in our town center. They're doing great things here in Sugar Land. We also did the mayor and council dinner. I know Councilman Jacobson, Singal was there. Anyone else? Jim Vonderhaar was there. So good attendance from Sugar Land. And then, of course, we went and visited a company called Fraser, which does first response vehicles. And they're doing a lot of production here in Sugar Land, which is great as well.
Thank you. Councilmember Miller?
First, I want to apologize, everybody. I was on the road last week or our last meeting, and you probably heard my wife talking more than me. And so I don't recommend doing that for anybody. If you're on the road, it makes it hard to do that. I was sick last week, so I missed some things, and I missed Jim's retirement thing, which was sad for me. So, and I have my district meeting this coming Saturday, so you're all invited to come to that, and that's it.
Okay. Councilmember Singal?
Yeah, thank you. So I attended the plug and play tour as well as the tour of the Fraser facility along with Councilmember Butcher and others. Also attended the Fort Bend County Chamber of Commerce event, which was quite nice to meet all the industry people there. Also attended the HOA annual meeting in my area because this week was the HOA annual meeting, so I attended Telfair, New Territory. And also I attended the ICC Republic Day function, which was held yesterday.
Thank you. Councilmember Watley?
Let's wrap this up. On the 22nd, the mayor and Councilmember Jacobson and I went to Fort Bend Business Partnership, which we like to do. You were there too. Councilmember Vonderhaar was there. Heard about what's going on in our city, and our city is always a big part of that. On the 29th, I think you guys covered a lot of things we already did. One thing you didn't do with me was go to the Ragus Lakes HOA board meeting, where we presented on some of our parks and what we're doing in that area. So that's it.
Thank you. And I met with Sugar Land Houston Methodist Hospital leadership team, and I participated in the Women Empowerment Network's Women Mayors panel discussion, which was very well received. And this was followed by the celebration of the 5th anniversary celebration of the network, where Pat Hoke, owner of House of Blooms right here in the town square, was honored, as well as our very own Keisha Seals. And then I spoke to children at Casa de Bambini Montessori and the Goddard School and St. Lawrence Schools. City Manager.
All right, Mayor. Love is in the air. Y'all know that I'm so in love with my wife I can't see straight, but I'm going to tell you two people that can see straight. We have the best court director in Kendra Beverly and the municipal judge, Judge Montez, and they have the bold idea to marry 100 people on Valentine's Day with a DJ and a dance floor. And it's a crazy idea. They did 17 last year, but I want to just give a shout out to those two and all of the staff that's participating in it. Those 100 spots filled up in about 48 hours. So what a cool thing. It builds community. Very proud of our municipal judge, who is exceptional, and all of our staff. Thank you.
That's really great. Next item is 10, closed executive session. A closed executive session is authorized by Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, for the purpose of receiving legal advice on pending or contemplated litigation or on attorney-client privileged information. So we will now adjourn the regular meeting and go into the closed executive session. Thank you.